According to the World Food Program, there are currently 690 million people who are facing severe hunger. This accounts for 9% of the world population, up by 10 million people in 1 year. Welcome to Against the Grain, a series presented by Grace Farms Foundation that explores organizations working at the intersection of impact and innovation to fix our food systems. I'm Karen Karayuki, your host and the Foundation's Community Initiative Director. Since opening Grace Farms, we've been providing food relief to our communities. But as food insecurity soared during COVID, we wanted to do more to help. Join us on this hopeful journey in search of solutions to fix our food systems. The Rockefeller Foundation is among the world's most respected and deeply rooted philanthropies. From its first grant to the American Red Cross more than a century ago, the Rockefeller Foundation has built a reputation as a trailblazer.
Our mission is to advance the well-being of humanity. We're advancing the frontiers, really, of science, policy, innovation, market innovation, and doing all of that so we can transform the world in really 4 areas. So we work in power, we work in health, economic mobility, and food. For way too long, we've thought about food and agriculture as really separate from human health, the environment, water, etc. And we're really missing the boat because of it. Right now, the food system is responsible for 34% of greenhouse gas emissions. This is bigger than the transportation sector. I actually don't think most people know that. 3/4 of all fresh water used is used for agriculture, and we're using it faster than the planet can replenish through rain. And then the number one cause of preventable death today is diet-related disease. 11 million people are dying prematurely every year because of what we eat. If we just think about productivity, we're missing the fact that what we're eating is killing us, and it is harming our planet irreparably. And so for this, you really need to zoom out and take a whole of systems view to appreciate this interconnection then between planetary health, human health, and all of these dimensions together.
Internationally, the Foundation is working on innovative programs in Africa, including a program Sarah called Nutrition Positive, Budget Neutral, Whole Grains Work.
So we're essentially working with policymakers to say, you don't have to spend an extra dollar, not a single one. You're already taking milled rice or milled wheat, and you're making it into food for school kids. If you just leave the germplasm intact, so this is effectively whole grain, the nutrition is gonna bump way up. You do have to retrofit those mills, but you're able to produce it at the exact same cost.
They are also reimagining food markets in Africa.
So many smallholder farmers or subsistence farmers, they bring their food to an open air market. So these places tend to be very crowded. There's no kind of COVID protocols. So we've worked with a fantastic design company, IDEO, and this has been this really interesting kind of architecture meets human-centered design meets energy. How do we think about sustainable energy, human services like childcare, etc., all being these new dimensions of markets that allow people to keep a safe distance, but also ensure that those markets are open, both for consumers, but also importantly for producers, because in Africa, they're largely one and the same.
The Rockefeller Foundation works on a global scale, but they're making an impact in the U.S. as well. Their domestic work has 2 focus areas.
What all that means in the U.S. context is really 2 areas of focus. So one is on produce prescriptions. So this is actually a really, really novel, and we hope soon to be much more widespread practice of healthcare providers being able to write prescriptions for broccoli, for fruits and vegetables, for somebody suffering from whether it's diabetes or another diet-related disease. And so we're really trying to scale up those programs specifically in communities of color that have been so disproportionately impacted by COVID and had a greater incidence of preconditions.
To encourage global organizations to aspire to develop a regenerative and nourishing food system by 2050, the Foundation created its Food System Vision Prize. Launched in partnership with Second Muse and Open IDEO, they created a strategic plan that progresses from hope to action. Sarah shared the work of one of the winning vision teams.
Their name is From Mama's Kitchen to Metropolitan Beijing, and they're led by this group called the Good Food Fund. One of the things they did starting during COVID was to take a really critical eye on wet markets. And so they wanted to reimagine what could wet markets be, not just for China, but for globally. So they worked with all kinds of partners from all kinds of institutions and put forward a wet market revolution, WET being an acronym for well-being, ecology, transformation. They premiered this handbook at a major design week for the whole of China. And it elicited the buy-in and interest of policymakers and funders and businesses. And now they're working with the city of Wuhan to prepare it to take on this kind of new food governance approach and looking at it becoming the first Chinese city to become part of the C40 group, which is basically a commitment to be a climate steward and a more regenerative space for food systems transformation.
Although visionary teams are working on transforming our food systems, Sarah said we can't remain on the sidelines.
How can we take just a little more care, just a little more intention behind answering the questions around the who behind our food, the what in terms of our bodies, and the what and the so what for the planet? I think that's a step we can all start to take so that we realize each bite isn't just about taste, it isn't just about how quickly I could get the food served up for my family. It is also a reflection of our values.
With the audacious goal of revolutionizing our food system by 2050, the Rockefeller Foundation envisions the future of food in the following way. The future of food is community. It will be the way that we can connect and support and celebrate our cultures. The future of food is resilience. In the future, the food production system won't deplete the environment. Rather, it will be a regenerative source of environmental renewal. The future of food is a new economy. The goods and services that flow through our global economic structures will be supported by thriving food systems. The future of food is reconciliation. It will be a way that we heal the wounds of the past. The future of food is medicine. The way we heal our bodies will be supported by the foods we eat. As we imagine the food system that we want for the future for both people and the planet, we can then take action to create that reality together. If this story of innovation and impact inspires you, please share it. The more we educate ourselves about the food systems we rely on and those working to fix them, the more we can come together to find innovative solutions. Thank you for joining us and our efforts to create a more efficient, more equitable, and more just food system.